Hello and welcome to Agri Business Review, and my name is Chitalo Mulenga. Now this week we bring to you yet again another interesting topic, and on our program this week we will be looking at financial instruments associated with agribusiness. And to discuss this subject, I have with me in studio the Chief Executive Officer for the Pan-African Exchange, in short PANEX, and this is Mr. Jacob Maga. Jacob, thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much.
And our resident agribusiness expert, Mr. Peter Cotton, thank you so much for coming through.
Good to be back again.
And perhaps just to remind our viewers, today I could use your official title for a change. I know I always refer to you as our resident business agri expert, but Mr. Cotton is the MD for Superior Milling. He is also trustee and board member for the Millers Association of Zambia, as well as the Zambia Association of Manufacturers. I'll begin with you, Mr. Maga. Looking at the Pan-African Exchange, perhaps you could just give us an insight into the role of PANEX.
Thank you very much. Maybe I'll talk about PANEX and our genesis. PANEX is a licensed securities and derivatives exchange by the Securities and Exchange Commission of Zambia, that is SEC. So we were licensed this year, and that's following a process of about 3.5 years going through the licensing process. We have about 7 members, and 4 of those members have already qualified, with over close to 200 representatives who are coming on board. So the role of an exchange like ours really is to provide price discovery for commodities, currencies, also the listing of stocks and government bonds. When we talk in relation to agriculture, we mainly talk about futures contracts and options. And really what a futures contract is an agreement between 2 people, maybe me and Mr. Cotton, to deliver maybe a good or a product in some time in the future. So we agree on the price today, and the delivery date can be today, 3 months, 6 months, or even 3 years from today. And that improves the role of the market itself in relation to agriculture. The other thing that we offer is electronic warehouse receipt financing, and people have been talking about that for some time now. But the way it's done, it has to be done in conjunction with a price discovery mechanism. If you don't have price discovery, then you can't determine the value of your good. Hence, your warehouse receipt really is worthless, to say. And for us, what we've done is we've taken the electronic warehouse receipt and we attach it to a futures contract, so that when the banks come in, they have a guarantee that when they're financing maize, wheat, or even cattle, that product is going to be delivered to someone, maybe Mr. Cotton or another institution that is looking for the product, and they are going to be paid their money back. Hence, for the bankers, they are very happy in terms of managing their risk. They don't want you to deliver maize to their offices in lieu of collateral.
Right. Before I ask you, like in very simple terms, how PANEX is helping, the farmer, the processor, and any other players, in terms of operating as PANEX, and given the Zambian landscape generally, how would you say you are faring?
I think we are faring very well. Have in mind we got licensed just in September.
Right.
I have traveled as far as Ndola. I've been to Kapirimposhi. I'm heading to Petauke and Chipata, and it's because of the demand from the different players. So if in places like the Copper Belt, mainly the people there are interested in buying government bonds, and this is the first time that people will have access to government bonds directly from their smartphones here in Zambia. So a person can be able to invest, and for us, what we are listing the government bonds on is on par value. So a person can start investing with as little as 100 kwachas or below. And you can do that on a consistent level as long as you have mobile connectivity. Now, for farmers, we already have farmers who are started depositing maize into warehouses in Petauke, who will be trading on the exchange. And we haven't gone out to market yet. So once we go out, and I think the response will be really phenomenal, because this is a product that is needed. The only thing is there's no one who has come up to put up the right investment to really roll out a functional exchange, and that is what we've done.
It does sound quite interesting, particularly for the farmer, Peter. So as a miller, how do you see, PANEX actually assisting the farmers going forward in the sector?
I'm very excited about it. Jacob and I met at one of these networking functions, and all I preach about is Zames, because I didn't even know about PANEX. So that's why I brought him on the show, because we want to sensitize the farmers and the public that they have options. And PANEX is quite different. That it's got more financial instruments than Zames. Zames is just specifically for agricultural commodities. PANEX can cover so many other factors, like he said, the stock market, government bonds, and so many other areas. If you're wishing to get some interest on your savings or whatever, I think it's very, very exciting. We've already started trading some business before we came on the show, because that's how it is. Because I asked the question and said, well, are you getting any response from farmers with the maize? And he says, yes, I've already listed some farmers. So I said, right, then register me as a miller so that we can put some bids against that. And that's how it works. What we seriously, badly need in this country is to put the seller and the buyer together, instead of being forced to go through, sorry out there traders, but we're trying to keep production costs down here. We're trying to keep the finished product to you, the consumer, down, and the best way is we can go direct to the market. And this is a way of putting the farmer and the processor together on an exchange. Right. So we can cut out the middleman, dare we say. But yes, you can say that's empowerment, or it's a value chain. But we've got to look at production costs in this country. We've got to get production costs down. And I think this is fantastic. And price discovery, which is what Jacob's mentioned, is very important, because I get that problem every morning that a trader will tell me the price has gone to so-and-so, this is what you'll pay. And until I send someone out in the market, literally in a car, knocking on the doors of all the mills and traders, I don't know the true price. Whereas I should be able to push it on a button on my laptop, get into his exchange or Zames, and then I will see exactly where the market price is that day. So we should be able to transact from a laptop instead of the old-fashioned way of going out there to see and the trader pulling the wool over your eyes, or playing a game of holding back the maize so that it forces the prices up. So at the moment today, there's an artificial shortage of maize on the market because traders are trying to force the maize prices up. But we all know there's plenty of maize out there. With the exchange, you cannot cheat the system, because it'll be very transparent.
But is there a distinct difference between the work that PANEX is doing and Zames, for instance? Would we be able to distinctly separate?
Absolutely. The distinction is very clear. For us, we are a full-fledged exchange. On top of that, the products that we offer, the futures contracts, those are derivatives. So when a farmer is trading on our platform, or a miller, they can be able to agree on a price from today up to 3 years in advance. So they know exactly what the price is going to be today, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, up to 3 years in advance. If they want longer periods, we can make that happen for them. Now, when they come on our platform, if Mr. Cotton was going to buy maize from a farmer, or from even a trader who's trading on the platform. What will happen is we have a clearinghouse. So the price is also guaranteed 100% by the exchange. So there is no risk of default from anyone. So the edges of dealing with forward contracts, those are over. So we deal with futures contracts. The price is guaranteed, the delivery is guaranteed, and even the payments to the farmers is guaranteed. The other thing that we have, we do all our trades in real-time clearing. So you cannot sell what you don't have. And the buyer on the other side has to put in a margin, which is a bond between two people. And for the exchange, we do the calculations every microsecond to make sure every person is being passed on the right price and the right information instantaneously. And that changes the entire picture on how you do business now. The other part is if farmers want to export to international market, or if anyone wants to sell to international, or even when international buyers are coming to the exchange to trade, now they can come to the exchange from wherever they are in the world, as long as they have a smartphone or their computer or their laptops. As long as they have internet connectivity, they can buy or sell. And it's all based on price and priority. You come, you put in the right price, and the other person puts in the same price, the orders are matched. And we can match as many as 5 million orders a second. That means every transaction that everyone in Zambia did on their ATMs for the last 5 days, we can do that in 1 second. So that will improve the trades that are done on the exchange, and every farmer in this country will be able to participate, and the millers alike.
Very, very interesting developments there. But Peter, when it comes to active participation from farmers, for instance, why is the pace slow when it comes to the commodity exchange in terms of the response and the pace?
Yeah, I think this is a very important question, and we pose that at ZAMACE as well, is that we need a massive sensitization campaign. We need to engage Zambia National Farmers Union in particular. I've been with them this morning at a conference, and we've been talking about this, that we need to have more workshops around the provinces and to work with the district farmers associations in all the provinces. Involve ZCF through the cooperatives as well, and through the Ministry of Agriculture. We need to, and my advice to Jacob is, you're moving around the country now, you need to actually arrange workshops. Because what I find is these farmers, SMEs, are hungry for information. And what's very exciting now is the government's putting up 1,000 towers around the country, $300 million investment, so that we can have a transfer of information technology. And definitely that would help the exchange to operate and get that information out there and to the farmer. So as soon as we can, we need to disseminate all this information out there and show the farmer how he can benefit in selling his maize, in storing his maize, or marketing his maize. And very exciting to hear that as well on the exports as well, because we struggle to access some of these export markets. People talk about there's a drought in the Great Lakes region. How can you access that market in the Great Lakes region? I mean, you're from Kenya. Yes. You can help us with these connections through the exchange. So I think it's very exciting, but we need to get the information out there and partner with certain organizations.
Absolutely. To add on what Mr. Cotton has just said, especially on the export market, Kenya in May of this year was buying maize from as far as Mexico for $530 a metric ton. So, I mean, if the farmers here had that access, what would have happened?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And that the droughts and the demand of maize in the Great Lakes region is not going to diminish. Indeed, it's going to increase. So farmers here will have that access to international buyers, and then they don't rely on government to come and give them subsidies and handouts and so on. The work of the government really is to create the policies, and the government has created enough policies to move into that direction. I know policies change all the time, which is important, and that is where the government engages the private sector to see the way forward. And when those discussions are held, we hope they are held on good faith. On the other hand, the work of the exchange is to provide a clear pricing mechanism. So when you're going to a conference or a seminar or anything, you are saying this is the true and unadulterated price, and that is what is very important. So when you provide pricing to, for instance, farmers, now they can make a decision: do I want to plant maize, or do I plant soybeans, or do I just leave my land bare? Because neither of the two crops is going to give me a return. And for farmers, they should be looking at this as a business. It's not a way of life. At the